So you're ready to get serious about taking a Space A flight to Oahu, Hawaii, and maybe even ready to start seriously looking into space-available military lodging and resorts in Hawaii. You're ready for some sun, some fun, and lots of time on the beach. So stick with me in this video, and I'll share with you some tips how you can make your Space A trip more successful. But first, here's a rando Space A travel tip. When you're flying space available on U.S. military aircraft, dress in layers, dress warm, because they get cold. The interior of most cargo aircrafts are cold. If you dress in layers, you can always remove layers to stay comfortable. The bottom line is, you want to dress warm when you're flying military Space A. And that is your rando travel tip. In this video, I want to do something of a travel report on my most recent Space A trip to Hawaii, where I stayed using Space A lodging at the Royal Alaika'i at Hickam Air Force Base on the Hickam side of Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam. And I need to make the disclaimer that I've been to Hawaii a total of 3 times, and on each of those occasions I've stayed in military-sponsored space-available lodging of one kind or another. On 2 of those occasions, I used Space A military travel, and on one of those trips, we flew commercially. When we flew commercially, we stayed at the Hale Koa Military Resort. So I'm approaching this video as somebody who has stayed at 3 locations on 3 different occasions in military-sponsored space-available lodging in Hawaii, exclusively on Oahu. I haven't stayed at any other island. Now, I understand there are folks who have far more experience in space-available lodging in Hawaii than I do. That said, I think that my travels have given me some insights and some useful information that I want to share here on my YouTube channel with you. I have some recommendations, particularly for first-timers. I think they could be very useful as you plan your first trip to Hawaii. And if this kind of content is interesting or useful to you, I'd like to invite you to subscribe and hit the like button, because that's what's going to help me keep making these videos. I really love making YouTube videos, and I love to travel. And this is one of my favorite subjects, and specifically the Space A travel area. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I love to share those experiences here with you. This past week, my retired Army buddy, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Logue, and I, and his wife and their daughter, took a trip to Oahu, Hawaii. We were just there for a couple of days. It was a very fast trip, but we had a great time. We reported into Travis Passenger Terminal the morning of our departure on the 21st at 0430 hours. We were there to compete for 73 seats that had been released on a C5, and as it turns out, there were only 9 passengers. So there was no competing for seats. Everybody got to fly, everybody got on the aircraft, and we left more or less on time, and we arrived safely at our destination in Hawaii. I posted a previous video entitled Traveling Military Space A to Hawaii, which I will link above and in the description below. I was asked in one Facebook Military Space A travel forum a few specific questions, so I'll try to answer those here. I made my reservation for the rental car in advance of our departure because my reservation could be canceled at any time without a penalty or fee. I also made our reservations for space-available lodging at the Royal Alaika'i on Hickam because those reservations could also be canceled at any time up until 6 p.m. on the day of travel without any fees or penalties. Now, I did call reservations at the Hale Koa Military Resort and found out that they did have rooms available for the dates of our stay, but in order to make those reservations, you had to prepay 1 full day's rate, which in our case would have been $225 each. And if your travel is interrupted for whatever reason, and you can't keep the reservation, you lose that full day's deposit. And that's one of the difficulties with traveling on military Space A flights. Your travel absolutely can be interrupted. If you're flying commercially, however, you have a pretty reasonable expectation that you're going to show up on time on the date of your expected arrival and be able to keep your reservations at the Hale Koa or whatever property that you have reservations at. So here's my first tip for anyone who's traveling on military space available flights and who wants to stay at the Hale Koa Military Resort. I recommend that prior to your departure, you make your reservations for lodging either at the Navy Lodge Hawaii on Ford Island or at the Royal Alaika'i on Hickam. Secure your reservation because you can unload it without any consequences. Then once you arrive successfully at Joint Base Pearl, contact the reservations department at Hale Koa and find out if they can accommodate your dates of travel. And if they can, secure your reservation. Then cancel your other reservations at Navy Lodge Hawaii or the Royal Alaika'i. Now, I did contact the Hale Koa hotel reservations and I found out that they did in fact have the rooms available during the times of our stay, but like I said, the deposit would have been $225 for each room that we needed. And if we had failed to make our flight, or if the flight had been delayed for any reason, we would have lost $255 each. And that's just a risk that I'm not willing to take. Now, I have stayed at the Hale Koa Military Resort, and it is an amazing place to stay with immediate access to Waikiki Beach and downtown Honolulu. It's a great place to stay. And it has all the creature comforts that comes with staying at a world-class resort destination. And I will be staying there again in the future with my family. However, I'm also somebody who's always looking for ways to save money. And there's so much to do on the island of Oahu, particularly if you have a rental car. You're going to be out exploring the north shore of the island, Bellows Air Force Station, the Polynesian Cultural Center, and many, many other destinations. You may not be spending much of any time at your hotel at all. So with that in mind, does it really matter where you sleep? By staying at the Royal Alaika'i, my travel buddy and I saved over $105 each per night during our stay. And we still had access to most of the facilities there at the Hale Koa Military Resort. Most importantly, the beach. So let me give you an overview of the 3 military lodging destinations where I've stayed and show you where they are on a map and walk you through what I believe to be the best features and benefits of each property. So here's a quick room tour at the Royal Alaika'i. The rooms we were assigned were mini suites. So as you enter the room, there's a desk workspace and there's a small living room with comfortable seating for 3. The windows look out to the building across the way that is another part of the Navy Lodge. There's an armoire with TV, but who watches TV anymore? The rooms also have a kitchenette with a small bar instead of a table or fridge, microwave, and Keurig. This room did not have cookware or utensils. However, the room I stayed in at Navy Lodge Hawaii on Ford Island did. So that's something to be aware of depending on the length of your stay. Outside of the bathroom, you have a sink, and it's the only sink. If you want to sit down, you could move the desk chair over there and get ready in the morning. It's a fairly plain bathroom, certainly adequate, and the bedroom was nice in my opinion. The same windows run through the exterior wall through the living room and into the bedroom. There are a couple of lamps and a very nice, comfortable queen-size bed. The air conditioning works great, but the fan helped a lot. There's also an armoire in the bedroom with a TV, but like I said, who watches TV anymore? You should be watching YouTube. So what are the advantages of staying at the Royal Alaika'i on Hickam? First and foremost, you're very close to the passenger terminal at Hickam. So if you're arriving after a series of Space A flights and you need to get as quickly as you can to your lodging for rest and to get caught up on sleep, you can do that most efficiently right there. Or alternatively, you might be flying to Hawaii returning from Guam or Japan or even Korea and be in need of rest also. The Royal Alaika'i gives you faster access to the passenger terminal and will allow you to get rested up more efficiently. Or your stop at Hickam could just be a stop along the way, in which case you don't want to be too far away from the passenger terminal if you're monitoring outbound flights, trying to be competitive and ready to fly back to the States. You also have access to the exchange, the dining facility, and all of the other life support systems that are available right there at Hickam. There are several restaurants available at Hickam, as well as its own beach access. I'll probably be staying there for my next several visits because most of my time is going to be spent on the north side of the island, going to the Polynesian Cultural Center, as well as the beaches and attractions on the north side of the island. So it really won't matter to me where I'm sleeping. And like I said before, I'm always happy to save money. I will stay at the Hale Koa again in the future with my family when I'm going to be spending more time at the resort or looking to spend time in downtown Honolulu. But our stay at the Royal Alaika'i cost $155 per night for the room. Now, my trip before this, we stayed with our guests at Hale Koa Military Resort. For a partial ocean view room for our guests and ourselves, each room cost $265 per night, and it's based on your rank. We were there for a total of 4 nights. Each room featured 2 queen beds, and it was more of a traditional hotel room configuration. We made our reservations about 10 months out from our travel dates, and we flew there commercially. Now, Hale Koa is a great destination, particularly for larger groups and families, because they have several restaurants as well as a full exchange on site. Virtually everything that you could want or need for your stay, they have right there on the property. They have a large beach-sized pool and aquatic center for kids, as well as an adults-only pool. So they're able to cater to the needs of customers of all ages. Most importantly, they have immediate access to Waikiki Beach, which is fantastic. Probably the most important thing that I can stress about this location is that I would be entirely comfortable taking small children, even my own grandchildren, swimming in the ocean there right at the beach. The surf and wave action is so mild that it's barely even noticeable. Anyone of any age could swim there and feel comfortable and safe. Going further back in time to my first visit to Hawaii, my travel buddy and I, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Logue, and I stayed at Navy Lodge Hawaii at Ford Island. Although the architecture is circa 1970, all of the rooms have been freshly renovated and modernized and feature 2 very large, comfortable queen-size beds, a kitchenette, and the unit we were in also had pots, pans, and plates. This property has a small but comfortable swimming pool, and probably the most important advantage of Navy Lodge Hawaii is its proximity to amazing sites, including the USS Missouri, and it is also just across the bridge from the Pearl Harbor National Memorial, which was an amazing place to visit and learn about those who sacrificed their lives in defense of our country during and after the attack on Pearl Harbor. At the time, we paid the room rate of $120 per night, and they also featured a pretty hearty continental breakfast every day. Another great military resort that I have to mention, I haven't stayed at, but I have gone to every time that I've gone to Oahu. The past 3 occasions, I've gone to Bellows Air Force Station. It's a fantastic beach, a great place to play, and they offer camping. They have cabins, they have cedar cabins as well as condominiums. So depending on what you're looking for your own accommodations, you can make reservations there, but it's very competitive. So you have to book your reservations way in advance. The Turtle Cove shop has everything from snacks, burgers, Starbucks. You can also rent your gear there. If you want to rent a boogie board or a paddle board, they have those there. They also rent bicycles and a whole host of other things at a very low rate. So you can enjoy everything that Bellows Air Station has to offer and save money while doing it. It's a great location. So when you're in Oahu, take a moment to stop by and check out Bellows Air Force Station. It's an amazing destination and a great option for you as a military traveler. So which of these options are best for you? Well, obviously that's going to depend. It's going to depend on your plans and what you're looking to get out of your experience. And it's likely to be different each time you visit Hawaii. My goal has been to stay at a different location each time I visit so I can gain insights and information about how I would take the best advantage of the properties that are available. That allows me to bring that information back and share it here with you. And again, I hope this video has been useful to you. If you've personally experienced any of these or any of the other locations on Oahu or any of the other Hawaiian islands, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Again, if you haven't subscribed and you've made it this far, I'd like to invite you to subscribe and join us as we travel, find new destinations, and share them here. And in the meantime, I will see you on the beaches.